Some healings are not meant to live on the surface. Some souls were born to dive, to touch the bedrock of feeling and plant invisible roots that hold relationships with the quiet strength of something that intends to stay. That is Cancer at its essence. Never a sign of loose words, but of gestures that soothe, presences that shelter, silences that speak without asking permission. Ruled by the moon, Cancer breathes in phases. Moods shift with the tide. Intuition rises and falls like seawater finding the shore. Affection is protective, instinctive, almost ancestral, and the heart does not fear depth. In truth, it longs for it like someone reaching for warmth on a cold night. Love for Cancer is never distracted. It studies the small signs other people forget to notice, listens for what was not said out loud, recognizes feelings others try to bury beneath the cleverness of their daily masks. To love as Cancer loves is almost a spiritual craft, a devotion that reads the other person's soul with eyes closed. Because feeling is its most fluent language, yet not every soul is ready for that kind of connection. Not everyone can bear a love that asks for presence, transparency, reciprocity, the kind that requests real growth within the bond, not just cinema kisses and a few bright fireworks. Compatibility for Cancer doesn't end with taste, chemistry, or an easy laugh at a shared joke. It asks for soul, for emotional maturity, for someone who knows how to be here, not only on their glittering days, but also when the sea turns and the waters of life rise higher than expected. Cancer is not searching for any romance. Cancer seeks a sanctuary, somewhere it can exist without shrinking down, where emotion is not labeled excessive but honored as precious material, where memory matters and tenderness is considered a form of intelligence. If this is already stirring something in you, breathe into it. And if your heart recognizes these tides, consider subscribing to Signs and Secrets now so you don't miss the journeys we open here together. This space is a table where your feelings are respected and your intuition is welcome. Cancer hopes for a partner who understands the holiness of a shared memory, who isn't afraid to cry together, who knows how to listen to what only silence can say. For Cancer, love is a home, a lap, a depth that chooses to remain. Astrology, this old map of archetypes, rhythms, and echoes, points to a few signs that harmonize with the lunar frequency of Cancer. 6 in particular tend to speak the same ancient tongue, a language woven of emotion and empathy, of promises that don't need to be shouted to be kept. When these archetypes meet Cancer, attraction is not merely sparkle. It is an activation, a stirring of something that recognizes itself. We will travel through these 6 sacred encounters, combinations that turn relationships into portals for healing, devotion, and transformation. And if at any point you feel called by a memory of such a love, share your date of birth and your zodiac sign in the comments. Your story might reach another heart that still believes love is a sacred path. Our first pair opens with intensity and mystery, Cancer and Scorpio. Both are water. Both carry in their chests a sensitivity few understand. Both know that when they join, they are not just starting a relationship. They are waking a karmic thread, a deep, almost hypnotic bond that feels older than their names. Cancer brings lunar shelter, that tender affection that becomes emotional protection. Scorpio arrives with the gravity of someone who loves, like they are confronting death itself, unafraid, without reserve, with no plan to turn back. The first look often feels like a light struck in a quiet room, as if they had waited lifetimes to meet again. Scorpio is magnetized by Cancer's emotional purity, by the way Cancer gives without masks or small manipulations, offering the raw truth of feeling. Cancer, in turn, is profoundly moved by Scorpio's power, a sign that hides its wounds but holds a visceral hunger for fusion. Together, they practice a living alchemy. Cancer teaches Scorpio to soften, to trust the tenderness that doesn't weaken but heals. Scorpio teaches Cancer to stand in its full power, to face the personal underworld and refine fear into inner strength. Their exchange is never ordinary, it is sacred. In intimacy, their bodies remember an old language. Cancer offers warmth, devotion, emotional surrender. Scorpio offers intensity, desire, total presence. Together, they build a field where love becomes medicine, where pleasure is also soul connection. But this path isn't for the faint-hearted. Both must choose trust, both must open without armor. Both must remember they are not fighting each other. They are standing side by side against ghostly scripts carried from childhood. When they choose growth, they become one of the zodiac's most formidable pairs, a mirror of depth, loyalty, and emotional transcendence. If this resonance is moving your inner waters, take a gentle moment to like this video now. That simple gesture helps this message reach others who are searching for the same language of care and devotion that you value. When water finds fertilized earth, there is no disaster. There is flourishing. So it is with Cancer and Taurus. This is not a love that explodes. It blooms. It doesn't shout. It takes root. A relationship built quietly, patiently, like preparing a nest intended to last. Taurus, ruled by Venus, carries a devotion to love, beauty, and tangible life. It seeks security, pleasure, and constancy. Its strides are grounded, its words considered, and its gestures carry the calm wisdom of time. That steadiness captivates Cancer because beneath the waves, Cancer longs for a harbor, a place where emotion can be received without fear, without haste, without judgment. Cancer comes with lunar nuance, tides rising and falling, sometimes without prediction. Yet in the steadiness of Taurus, something inside Cancer relaxes, as if it can finally rest in arms that do not run when the weather turns. In daily life, this pairing is a delicate blend of nurturing instinct and a need for stability. Cancer offers warmth and intuitive care, the soft light in the window at the end of a complicated day. Taurus offers structure, reliable rhythm, and protection you can touch. While one nourishes the soul, the other keeps the roof solid. While one dreams, the other plants. Together, they build a home where love has strong walls and windows open to the sky. Their devotion doesn't require declarations from rooftops. It speaks through everyday tenderness. The tea steeping without being asked, the blanket pulled in the night. The look that says, I'm here even when the world spins too fast. In intimacy, they weave something sensual and steady. Taurus is tactile, slow, abundant in the savoring of time. Cancer turns that space into presence, emotion, and safe surrender. Not all love begins as wildfire. Some unions arrive like a soft breeze that becomes a steady wind, a shy gaze that matures into committed presence. That is Cancer with Virgo, a construction, a love unveiled in details, in small gestures, in the considerate motions only attentive eyes can capture. At first, their differences are obvious. Cancer is heart-forward, intuitive, emotional. Virgo is mind-forward, observant, devoted to order. Yet the secret of their bond lives in this contrast. They do not cancel each other, they complete each other. Each teaches the other to view life through a lens once thought too distant. Virgo, ruled by Mercury, holds a precise analytical intelligence. Its love is not loud, but it is reliable, consistent, and deeply loyal. It expresses care by tending, fixing what is crooked, organizing the visible so the invisible can breathe. Virgo notices what others miss, and that level of attention is a profound act of love for Cancer. Cancer answers with waters that melt Virgo's defenses, listening with sensitivity, offering instinctive empathy, wrapping Virgo in an embrace that whispers, "You don't have to be perfect to be cherished." In Cancer's circle, Virgo can exhale, allowed to be gloriously human rather than flawlessly correct. In daily living, they create something solid and gentle. Cancer tends to the emotional climate of the home. Virgo tends to functionality, to what must be named clearly to remain clean and true. One stirs the soup, the other lights the candle. One remembers an aunt's birthday, the other pays the bill on time. It becomes a space where even imperfections seem to arrive at the right hour. Their music in intimacy is slow building. Virgo surrenders gradually once it trusts there is respect and truth in the room. Cancer understands that rhythm and never forces the opening. When surrender happens, it is unique in depth. Each look, each pause, each touch becomes a form of care. Of course, they face challenges as all couples do. Cancer may fear Virgo's coolness. Virgo may feel Cancer elevates drama. But with respectful dialogue and a genuine desire to grow, obstacles turn into bridges. Virgo learns that feeling is not the enemy. Cancer learns that clarity is a form of kindness. Through one another, both expand their emotional education. This is a relationship that strengthens with time, that reveres small rituals and overlooked details. The coffee poured without being asked, the whispered compliment after a grueling day, the hand at the back right when it's needed. In those tiny instances, their love takes root. Support signs and secrets become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. Now an ethereal, quietly mystical union opens like prayer, set to ocean sounds, Cancer and Pisces. When Cancer meets Pisces, the sea recognizes itself in the mirror. Both speak the language of compassion. Both understand that softness is not weakness. It is the courage to stay open in a world that rewards numbness. Cancer brings the safe harbor. Pisces brings the cathedral of imagination. Cancer anchors, Pisces enchants. And when their currents weave, something holy begins to hum. An atmosphere where tenderness is intelligence and forgiveness is a chosen art. In everyday life, Cancer holds space for the fragile and the precious. Pisces color washes that space with music, images, and dreams that make suffering bearable and joy more vivid. Cancer protects the shell of the life they are building. Pisces protects the light inside it. When conflict arises, Pisces teaches Cancer to float rather than sink, to let the wave pass instead of wrestling it. Cancer teaches Pisces to return home when drifting becomes escape, to choose presence over fantasy when someone they love needs them now. Their intimacy is watercolor, edges blending, colors deepening, moments lingering in memory. When this pair remembers to ground together, money, boundaries, sleep, scheduling tenderness like sacred appointments, they become living proof that empathy can fortify rather than drown us. And there is a match that looks in the mirror and sees its own lunar glow. Cancer with Cancer. Two shells, two tides, two keepers of memory, noticing the same subtle weather in one another's eyes. What outsiders might call too much becomes their shared sanctuary. With Cancer, home isn't a place. It is a promise, renewed each day. I will hold your heart as carefully as I hold my own. Their emotional literacy is fluent. They can name the shade of a feeling before a sentence finishes. They cherish traditions, photographs, recipes, songs that smell like childhood. They know the sacredness of a couch conversation at midnight, of tears that arrive with no need for explanations, of laughter that sounds like relief. In daily life, this union is devotional. One cooks while the other arranges flowers. One pays attention to the mood of the room, while the other makes sure everyone has a blanket. In bed, trust makes softness electric. The risk here is saturation. Two oceans can flood the shores if boundaries dissolve. To thrive, they agree that space is not rejection but respect. Alone time is not abandonment but refueling. When they honor that, the pair becomes a lighthouse, steady, warm, unashamed of feeling, offering shelter to each other's inner child and to the future they are braiding together. If you recognize yourself here, if you once tasted a love where touch healed, where the daily rhythm felt like poetry, where quiet turned into a kind of communion, share your date of birth and your zodiac sign below. Your memory might be the compass someone else needs. And if this content is stirring clarity or comfort in you, remember, you can subscribe to Signs and Secrets to stay with us as we open more of these cosmic doors. What we do here is not fast food astrology. It is soul work with language you can carry into your life. We have walked through waters and found earth that can receive them. Now we arrive at a pairing many overlook and yet feel in their bones the moment destiny arranges the room. Cancer and Capricorn. Opposite signs on the zodiac wheel, they are two ends of the same axis, home and calling, roots and mountain, memory and legacy. Where Cancer knows how to cradle the past with reverence, Capricorn knows how to translate duty into dignity and build a future able to hold the weight of their shared dreams. At first they may seem mismatched. Cancer leads with heart. Capricorn leads with responsibility. Cancer senses the subtlest emotional currents. Capricorn reads the architecture of time. But when they see each other clearly, a rare admiration forms. Cancer marvels at Capricorn's loyalty, at the way promises are treated like oaths. Capricorn softens before Cancer's courage to remain tender in a world that confuses numbness with strength. In practice, this union can feel like seasons learning each other's rhythm. Cancer invites Capricorn back to the hearth, to breathe, to eat slow, to remember that effort without nourishment becomes erosion. Capricorn invites Cancer to stand taller, to protect their gifts with structure, to trust that boundaries are a form of love that keeps the garden from being trampled. Together they design a life that is both soft and strong, quiet Sunday mornings, and spreadsheets that make the mortgage possible, handwritten notes and practical plans, lullabies for children and legal documents that keep those children safe. In intimacy, they are surprisingly volcanic. Capricorn's reserve turns to devotion when trust proves unshakable. Cancer's shyness turns to brave openness when met with respect. The sensuality here is a slow-burn furnace, never flashy, always reliable, growing warmer with time. There will be moments when Cancer calls for more reassurance, and moments when Capricorn asks for more steadiness in crisis. If both agree that vulnerability is not a power loss, but a bridge, they become unbreakable. This is not simply compatibility, it is complementarity, two halves of a purpose, to build a home where love is protected and a future where love can endure. Midway through this voyage, let your kindness ripple outward. If this message holds you in any way, like this video now, so it can find the hearts that need it most. Your simple support truly matters. Support Signs and Secrets. Become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. And then, as if a breeze through an open window, another voice rises, quicksilver and surprising, Gemini. Few notice it at first, but Geminis are not here only to entertain with light talk or brighten rooms with easy laughter. They carry a subtler teaching, how to find poetry in chaos, how to dance with doubt, how to smile through rain, how to rebuild the sandcastle exactly as the wave recedes. Gemini moves like a comet, appearing, blazing, changing, and then gone but never forgotten. Life beside Gemini becomes a collection of luminous instants, so intense they feel eternal while they last. With Gemini, you feel everything at once, tenderness and confusion, warmth and chill, clarity and paradox. Inside that mosaic lives the true gift, the reminder that living is exactly this, navigating extremes without losing center. Behind the quick wit and curious eyes, pains hide that few witness. Gemini often feels everything accelerated, feels for 2, thinks for 3, fights for 4, and goes silent for 5, not because connection isn't wanted, but because Gemini has accepted that not everyone is ready to touch the margins of their heart, where truth is not linear. There is something quietly spiritual in those born under the twins, an existence that surpasses the obvious. Gemini lives in 2 realms, the visible and the invisible. One gaze anchored in the present, one ear tilted toward the future. An intuitive comprehension of human nature makes them hard to deceive. If they pretend not to notice, it is to preserve what is still tender. If they keep quiet, it is to avoid harm. When they leave, it's often because the lesson that could be delivered from the heart has already been given. Even in their absence, Gemini leaves traces, laughter in the air, a phrase that returns days later, a mind remapped by a question you cannot unhear. It is almost alchemy. Sowing ideas seems part of a silent treaty with the universe, and everyone they encounter is reshaped in some small, meaningful way. Have you been changed by a Gemini? Have you smiled without realizing it when a line of theirs flashed across your memory? Have you missed a conversation only to discover it reordered your thinking after the fact? That is the gentle inheritance of Gemini, marking souls with lightness, teaching through humor, healing through words. Gemini is master of impermanence, expert of the love that doesn't cage, the touch that awakens without enslaving, the look that understands even when the picture is blurry. Gemini is bridge, wind, language, change. This is why Gemini is envied. Their essence is freedom, their legacy wisdom, and their presence reminds us that life wants movement. And when Gemini goes, as they often must, the space they leave is a summons. Don't be so stern with the miracle of being alive. Don't cling so tightly that your hands forget how to open. Don't confuse rigidity with loyalty to yourself. Give yourself permission to change, to be two things while you are becoming a third. Begin again even when others don't understand. The living art of life is reinvention. Now the circle closes where it began, with Cancer's vow to love as a sacred practice. We have traced 6 perfect love matches that harmonize with Cancer's lunar truth, Scorpio's depth, Taurus's steadiness, Virgo's care, Pisces' compassion, Cancer's mirroring tenderness, and Capricorn's devoted backbone. Each is a different temple with the same flame. With Scorpio, love becomes a fearless descent that returns with treasure. With Taurus, it becomes a garden that feeds the soul. With Virgo, it becomes a clinic for the heart where precision heals and presence soothes. With Pisces, it becomes a chapel by the sea where forgiveness is ongoing prayer. With Cancer, it becomes a lighthouse, constant, warm, and unashamed of feeling. With Capricorn, it becomes a dynasty of kindness, soft at the table, strong at the gates. These are not fantasies. They are living possibilities when two people agree to be honest, to keep learning, and to remain tender even when scared. Of course, every pairing has its initiations. Scorpio Cancer must keep choosing trust over suspicion. Taurus Cancer must protect passion from becoming only routine. Virgo Cancer must remember that criticism is not intimacy, and feelings aren't flaws. Pisces Cancer must ground dreams in calendar and boundary. Cancer must create space so the tide can breathe. Capricorn Cancer must trade stoicism and overcare for shared vulnerability. When these lessons are taken seriously, the reward is a kind of love that feels like remembering your native language after years abroad. As you sit with these pairings, Scorpio, Taurus, Virgo, Pisces, Cancer, and Capricorn, and with the unexpected wisdom of Gemini threading through the air, ask yourself which tide your soul recognizes. If a memory glowed while you listened, share your date of birth and your zodiac sign in the comments. Your presence deepens this circle and often becomes the message someone else needs to hear. If along the way you felt held or seen, make this your quiet vow to your own heart. You will not apologize for your depth. You will not diminish your intuition. You will not pretend your softness is weakness. Your emotions are worthy. Your rhythm is holy. Your care is a form of intelligence, and your love is a sanctuary that deserves to be honored. And because offerings like this travel on currents we create together, please like this video now so the message can reach the ones who have been waiting for it without knowing why. Support Signs and Secrets. Become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. If this work continues to be a harbor in your week, consider returning often. Each message is a mirror for your inner world and a map for the days ahead. Subscribe to Signs and Secrets so you can come back to the sanctuary whenever you need language that respects your soul. Before you go, breathe once more into the truth that love is learned daily, at the sink, at the bedside, in the kitchen, in a parking lot, in the living room after a hard call, beneath streetlights, beneath moonlight. To love as Cancer loves is to set down your armor and dare to be changed by tenderness. If this message affirmed something fragile in you, leave your birthday and zodiac sign below and tell us which pairing called your name. Your story will be received gently here. Subscribe to Signs and Secrets to keep this conversation alive in your life. And remember, like this video now so it can find others learning slowly and bravely to love as if it were a sacred path. If you want to hear everything the universe has to say to you, watch these other videos on our channel.